good evening, everybody, from wherever you are. Welcome back to the MRL Twitch channel for round number 12 here at Spain at the circuit Barcelona, Catalonia. My name is Dan, and today I'll be streaming this race alongside someone who's more used to being on the circuit rather than being in the commentary booth. Today I'm being joined by Neon. Neon, how are you doing today?
Hello. Pretty good. It's a chill day. Feeling a lot better after being ill, so hoping for a good race here.
I'll tell you what, we are in the same boat because I've been a little bit ill coming into this one as well, but I'm getting there. I am getting there, and I guess we'll just quickly, qualifying has actually started already, so I'll do this a bit hastily, but you see your championship standings on screen at the moment. Brainstew currently leads from last week's race winner Luke Smith, 151 points for the Alfa Romeo, and then the Haas is on 124. Brownie in third position on 78, just 2 points ahead of Candy King, and then Mateo rounds out the top 5. Magnet is on 60 points in 6th, and then Luca in 7th on 50. Verdex on 41 points and just 1 point ahead of Eruption, and Avi rounds out the top 10. Then Jack AC on 35 points, just outside the top 10 in 11th, and Juan on 30 points in 12th, and Yare in 13th on 25. The rest of the grid is as follows. Dimitriou, hopefully I said that one right, is currently joint on points with Mark on 18th on 18 and 14th and 15th, and then Best Mate in 16th on 9, Rutinatius on 6, Scars on 5, Larzen on 2, and then rounding out the grid is Burkan. And I think without further ado, we've wasted enough time. Qualifying is already underway. Let's head over to the race scene here.
Yeah, I do believe at the moment the first one on a valid lap still should be Remco van Putten in the Williams in Sector 3. As you can see, he's struggling a lot with the grip right now. The wets seem to be very wet on track, a lot of puddles. It's seems to be very tricky quality. I don't know what the weather situation is going to be, because if there's inters at the end, the times will be improving a lot. The first time is set at 29.2. And it instantly gets beaten by Berkham by a second. That's a lot.
So qualifying already get some laps coming through. Just got on board with the Raptor. Unfortunately, a spinner for the Mercedes there. And as you can see, of course, it is full wet conditions. They are on the blue striped tyres, which means, of course, they've got the deeper treading, and they are more suited for the wet condition. We are watching Abbey at the moment, just coming through the final sector for Alpha Tauri. We're right on board. Just you'll see how careful you've got to be through here. Coming out through the final corner now. See what the Alpha car can do. Currently Burkan is on top at the moment. Abbey takes that one away at 27.724. 12 minutes to go. We're a third of the way through qualifying. Alpha Tauri actually looking very strong. Currently 1 and 3 at the moment. But of course, with so much time left in the session, you'd expect times to fall, just based on the fact that drivers are going to be putting more rubber on the circuit. It's going to be a dry line beginning to form. So don't expect that to be the quickest time today.
Definitely not. Always with these damp conditions, you see that the track evolution is crazy. Always towards the end of the session, the times always improve a lot. Out of experience as a driver, I could talk. I think it's shown a lot of times that towards the end of rain quali, at least, it's always a lot, and might be even inters if it stays like this. It's going to be interesting to see who gets pole. It's rain always makes it very interesting, also in the race with the tires choice that you get, because you have of course the 3 tires at the start. You can choose medium, soft. We don't know if it rains. Maybe it rains, and it's going to be an interesting race at least.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I was just on board with the Best Mate here, currently through the final sector. He had a bit of a touch and go moment with Donny almost. Donny spinning across the circuit, struggling in the wet conditions. Best Mate did well to avoid them. I don't believe that the time was impeded too much. They sit in 9th position at the moment, or 28.599. All of these times set on a set of the wet weather tyres. No one's braved the inters yet. The rain's still looking pretty heavy out on circuit as Verdex begins a lap. I think we'll go on board with the Williams car coming into this one. A long run down in towards the first corner here. Normally want to brake at about the 75-meter board. He just brakes slightly before there, through the first corner now. The right, then left, and then back right sequence in the uphill part of this track. Very understeery corner through here. He's got to keep it on the circuit. Done that very nicely. Another under the Pirelli banner through turn number 5 now, or turn 4 if I'm not mistaken, in towards the second sector. A little bit of a slide coming out through there. Very long corners at this part of the circuit. Then it gets a bit tighter as they go along the lap. Now coming up towards a very difficult part, very low grip part of the track. Very easy to spin if you get on the curbs too much there. He almost demonstrated that perfectly. Managed to hold on to it, but coming up through what is normally almost a flat out corner and onto one of 2 DRS straights. But of course in the wet weather there is no DRS to be utilised. It's 57.303 through the second sector split. Now trickiest part of the track does come along, and of course it is it is the final sector. Very tricky through here, especially in the last chicane where mounting the curbs could be deadly. Avi's just gone on a quicker lap, a 27.551. But Verdex now through the final part of the track has looked a little bit difficult at some points, and especially through there to cross the line. What can the Williams car do? It's going to be 4th fastest out of them all so far, just behind Brain Stew and Yari, who have actually put in the exact same time, and Candy King blasts them out of the water with a 27.698. So Neon, the times are improving here.
Yeah, it seems to be the track is already improving. You can see Avi put in a quicker lap already. I think it's also that the drivers are getting a little bit more used to these wet conditions, as it's very, very tricky. And most of the drivers, I'm guessing, have practiced mostly dry conditions. I know a lot of drivers always like to not practice the wet, as it's mostly of the time you have dry, but of course there is always the wet, and there's always has to be some practice. And you can see that in quali, because I think Avi definitely has prepared himself, because he's already on top by like 3/10 compared to Brainstew.
Yeah, absolutely. It is a pretty strong time to be setting. Of course, Avi inside the top 10 in the standings, so not a slow driver by any means. I mean, I can't speak for you here, but I think any of these guys would absolutely destroy me in a 1v1 race. But, best mate going to the top. We were just watching Cozzy as well. Avi once again puts in a quicker lap, so he's really enjoying going for these laps back to back to back. The current tyre that he's on is 4 laps old, so he's really fueled up the car. He might be going for another one. I think he might be calling it quits, but who knows? Who knows at all? As try and find someone at the final sector. Valu at the moment, 0.5 of a second up on their previous best, so half a second up through the final sector now. See if there's any more improvement to be had for the Aston Martin. Teammate currently in 6th position, down in 16th. Valu comes out the final corner. Normally would open DRS around about there. And across the line, it's going to be 4th fastest. Very decent time as well. Not too far off of Avi, and of course the gaps do tend to be a bit wider once they get into the wet conditions. They're still keeping it very nice and tight. And one thing I've also noticed in the pit lane, currently in 19th at the moment, Demi-True has opted, of course not come out on it yet, but has opted to select the intermediate tyres. Do you think, with this kind of level of rain and what the track's looking like, do you think it's ready for the Inters?
I don't know, doesn't look like it yet for me. I think it looks very, very wet still. But it's always, the drivers of course have a lot more information than we as commentators do. So they'll be looking on their PCs on the telemetry to see how what the rain is doing and if the tires will be improving. So I think, well, maybe if Dimitriou does see this information, because there's still a lot of drivers out on track, if he is the only one who sees it yet, he could put himself into a very good position to go on top of the leaderboards if the tires work.
Absolutely, of course, yet to come out on circuit on the set of the green wall tyre. We're just watching the Teo Longue cross the line there. Unfortunately, it wasn't an improvement on their previous best. I think Verdex has just come across, go 8th fastest with a 27.864, just 1,000th quicker than Yare. I think drivers now, you can see them all coming into the pit lane. They won't be too far out from coming back into back onto circuit. Of course, for their final runs, we're 2/3 of the way through. We're in the dying era of qualifying. 18 minutes. We've only got 6 left to go. Some drivers are still on laps at the moment. Jack AC Currently through the final sector, through the second sector at the moment, and at the split, he is just up by almost 0.2 of a second. So if there is a banging final sector to be had here for the Alfa Romeo car, they could see themselves shot up in towards the top 10. And of course, normally in qualifying, it might not be the most ideal thing to start in the top 10, but of course, everyone on the set of the wet weather tyres, they're going to be getting a free choice of what they want to start on. As all Jack AC, unfortunate there, sliding through the final corner. Lap put to an end, keep it out the wall. Oh dear.
Oh.
Wing damage there on the right end plate. Going to have a long trek back to the pit lane. Really unfortunate there for the Alpha.
Interesting right now. I could see there's a few people on the wets on out laps. Mostly the time at this time of quali, you pick your final tires as you want to warm them up and go for like 2 runs back to back. Because it's the 1 run only on the out lap, it's very hard to get the tires the temperature that you want. So if these inters do work, and it's going to be a mixed situation as it seems, because I see 3 different people in the inters right now still sat in the pits. But if they decide to go out, as Dimitriou just has done, we're going to see a situation develop where there are some people going to be on inters and some people on wets. So if the track dries at the end, these inters might have chosen the right tire. It's going to be very, very interesting to see.
Yeah, and I'm on board with the Red Bull car at the moment on a set of the intermediates, and well, it's looking like the rain is lighter than it was. I'm seeing a slight bit of lighter clouds, I'd say. I wouldn't say it's quite sunbreak yet, but there is certainly less rain on the circuit. Of course, whether that's standing water at the moment, that should get washed away as all the drivers come out on their out laps. So I think the intermediate tyres might be worth the risk to go, especially if you're far down the order and you don't really have too much to lose in this qualifying session. Like Dimitriou and Larsen, who's also fitted set of the Inters, might just be worth it to go for it. So we'll see how Dimitriou does on their lap. The first driver out on a set of the intermediate tyres. Got 4 minutes to set a valid time here. So we'll see how that goes for him. Just coming through the final sector now to begin out on this lap. We'll see what they have got in store for us. Candy King, his teammate, also fitting a set of the intermediates. Ooh, a bit of a slide. That might have killed their run into the first corner. How about you take us through the lap here, Neon?
The run down into turn 1, very long straight, longer than it actually seems. It breaks around the grey tarmac on the left, hits the apex of turn 1 nicely. Goes into 6th gear to short shift to get the traction. Seems very, very hard to turn right now. I don't think there's enough grip on these inters yet. Ooh, let's see it. Down into turn 3. Turn 4 it is, sorry. Gets the traction on. Grey on the power. It still seems that these inters are struggling to get grip. To here outbrakes himself. Ooh. I don't know. I don't know if it's the right tire. It's very, very interesting right now. Still manages to keep going. Up through through the left right. Now he's gonna take this long right hander. Gonna be in all. He keeps it valid on the limit. That was a decent corner. Now gonna see on his delta, is he gonna be up or down? He's 2 tenths down. And as on the 29.7. I don't know if these inters are gonna work then.
Through the final sector now. It's just not looking like it's competitive time coming out from Dimitriou. Maybe other drivers could make this tyre work, but he's just not looking confident at the moment in the Red Bull car. Coming through the final sector now, we'll see if it is an improvement on their previous best time. But it's just not looking competitive for Dimitriou, so it might not have been worth the gamble. Crossing the line, is it going to be an improvement? It is an improvement, but no positions made up. So it is a struggle for Dimitriou at the moment. See if we can find anyone else on a run. I think we'll watch Avi through the final part of the track, just about to come into the third sector actually. But they are down on their time, so they'll be looking to go for another. I think Valu's just begun on our lap. We've got 1 minute and 50 seconds left in this qualifying session. Times will be coming thick and fast from now on. All but 3 drivers out on circuit at the moment. A lot of these guys on laps. Just trying to see if I can find anyone who's actually on a push. I'm not too sure if I can. I do apologise for
Yara seems to be on the lap. Purple sector 1 by Yarvo on the inters. So it might actually have worked. Oh, very big snap. It's going to be a very, very interesting ending to this qualifying.
Yeah.
Manages to keep it valid, gets the rotation on. Mikhail has retired from the session as he spun.
Oh
That's
dear.
something we don't like to see. Caught back on board with Yara. He was 2 tenths up in sector 1. He's 5 tenths up right now on this previous lap. This would put him on provisional pole. It will be very close right now, but if he keeps this improvement on, he's definitely going to snap this pole position. Oh! This is a very big snap. That is going to throw away a lot of his lap time. Can still manage to maybe go P1. But he's definitely going to have to go for another lap after this to have competitive time for the Inters.
Absolutely, of course. He's got another run left in there. 22 seconds to come through. And it is an improvement, and it is into 5th position for Yari. It's now in towards turn number 1. I think they will be going for another lap, but we'll see if we can catch anyone else on a run.
Magnetar right
invalid.
now, also 1.5 tenths up. Oh, he is invalid indeed.
I don't think he'll be able to make it, and indeed he can't. So Magnetar not going to be able to set another lap on that. I think Burkham was also on an out lap when the flag fell, so they are not also going to be. They're not going to be able to set a lap time at this point unless the times are not synced, because well, normally the AI would take control maybe, but I'm not too sure.
Larsen goes into P8. Great lap. Jackhack at the moment is 6 tenths up on his time in the middle sector split. This could just see him jump up all the way up into like P7, P6 maybe even. So comes through the final corner, gets the traction down nicely, goes over the line and puts him on P1. What a unit of a last sector he has driven. That is a great lap. Now we're gonna have to see if Burkhan can get his pole position back. He's all the way up into the turn 3, gets the traction done nicely. Let's see if he's up on his time. He is not up on his time at the moment. Oh,
slightly down at the moment, the Ferrari driver. 3 tenths off of Jack AC at the moment. And I apologise for the coughs. I'm recently recovering from a little bit of an illness, but I'm trying my hardest here. We'll go back on board with Burkhan. I just saw a tyre just stranded in the middle of the circuit. I'm not too sure
that was
why that's there. There's a lot of spray on the camera. The rain's still falling heavily, but we'll see if Burkhan can find improvement through the second sector. And there is 2 tenths, almost 3. So this could be a competitive pole time for Burkhan to snatch it back off of Jack AC now through up this hill section to one of the peaks of this track. And in towards the downhill final sector. Magnetar has gone quickest, so their efforts have paid off. But what about Burkhan now? Surely if the trend is continuing, then they're just going to improve by even more now through the final sector. The Ferrari car rises. The Scarlet Red, the prancing horse across the line. Oh, there's an improvement, but it's not enough to jump any positions. That means Magnetar is going to be on pole position here. The Ferrari just could not do it. It's going to be Magnetar on pole. Then Jack AC starting in second. We saw Burkhan find an improvement through the final sector. So unfortunate they lost it. But the top 3 drivers all on the set of the intermediate tyres.
It seems as if the Inters did work out in the end for the top 3. A lot of improvement on these Inters in the final laps, in the final stages of the qualifying session. A lot of the wets just fell down a little bit, but it also seemed very tricky out there with the Inters. It was at the crossover point, but I think the Inters did work out in the end, and that got Magnetar the pole position. Well done, good lap.
Absolutely. So we'll have a full rundown of qualifying. I'd also just like to give a special thank you to Mizumono. Hopefully I said that one right, for subscribing to the Misfits Racing League channel on Twitch. I have another support here. Your contribution is greatly appreciated. But to have a full rundown of the top 10, Magnetar on pole, Jack AC P2, Burkhan in P3, then Avi in 4th, 5th for best mate, Brainshaw championship leader in 6th, Yari in 7th, 8th for Valu, Larsen in 9th, and rounding out the top 10 is Kozzy. We'll get the rest of the grid once they load into this session. But now that they have... Now, Neon, I asked you, the experienced league racer, if we see dry conditions here and they all get the free choice of tyres, what's the strategy got to be?
With the free choice of tires, I would definitely think on this track, as there's a lot of overheating. I think the mediums and the hards will be the best tires to work. So I think it's going to be a mix between people starting on the mediums and starting on the hards. As you want to, on the mediums, you want to extend, because the mediums stay a very good race tire for very long. I would definitely not recommend anyone using the softs on this track.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you there. Of course, my racing knowledge isn't as great as a league race. I used to league race quite a lot. Then I moved more into qualifying into commentating. I'm getting a little bit loopy at the moment here. Drivers are just locking in their strategies, and they will be making some slight adjustments to their setup. I imagine the wings are being changed, and of course in firmer conditions they can't do too much to the setup if they were running a wet setup in qualifying. But speaking of that, actually, given that they could have had the option to go for the wet setup, it'll be very evident in this race as to who actually did that, and they'll be slipping back. I'd imagine it wouldn't be ideal for them. We'll just have to wait and see. So here we are.
There we go.
So drivers on the grid.
Tires. Magnetars on the hards. There's only 3 people on the hards. Very interesting.
Yeah, so they've all opted for a set of mediums to start off here. Aside from Magnetar, Joshua Pienaar and Donny. And then interestingly enough, Cozzy has gone for a set of a soft compound of tyre in the McLaren. I'm not too sure that's the ideal strategy. They're really going to struggle at this point. Well, not at this point. They'll have probably the most grip out of anyone. They'll be the quickest of them all. But it might not be the best ideal strategy for Cozzy. And I think we'll have to have a just quick look at the rest of the grid. Candy King in 11th, Verdax in 12th, then Harlan Marquise in 13th, 14th for Pienaar, Mikau in 15th, Dimitru in 16th, Eruption 17th, Remco van Putten in 18th, and then rounding out the grid, the rear of the field, a sight that we're normally seeing in real F1 actually as well, the 2 Haas cars of Matteo Longuet and then Donny as well. They'll be rounding out the grid, but Magnetar's now in the final sector. We'll just have to wait into the grid. I come to you now, Neon, though. Who are your top 3 in this race?
Top 3? I'm definitely saying Magnetar. I think these hards are going to work out. If he can stay decently within the top 5 in the first stint and keep with them on these hard compound of tires, I think then in the second stint he'll be going very fast through the field, and I think that will definitely get him a podium. My pick for P2 is Brainstew, and I think Valu can snatch a P3.
Okay, so Neon's picks are Magnetar, Brainstew and Valu. I'm going to go something similar to you. I'll go with Magnetar for the win if they can keep up with their rivals. I was Burkan in P2. I think Brainstew's going to take P3, but we are just waiting on one more driver to pull into their grid stop. It is Donny, and then we will get ready for this race to just get underway. As the Haas car pulls in, he pulls to a stop, and it all falls silent. So here we go. The lights are on. 5 red lights. Who's going to take it in MRL? We are a go, and it looks like it is a brilliant start for Burkan, actually. And now coming in towards turn number 1, Jack AC takes the lead, but Avi with a brilliant start, jumping all the way up in second. They're 3 abreast coming in towards turn number 1. Avi goes up the inside of the Alfa Romeo. Now they're going to run wheel to wheel through the first 2-3 corners, and it's going to be Jack AC just coming out on top. Burkan Kilic comes out in P3 as Avi in P2, and now they're still making moves. Brainstew trying to go up the inside of the Ferrari car, coming close to contact now in towards the second sector. At this point, Magnetar continues to drop back as they've been overtaken by Yare, it looks like, down into 6th position. We got a spinner at the back. That might be Larsen as they're all making moves, switching positions. Seems like Valu and Harlan Marquise are going wheel to wheel and towards the second sector here, almost making contact. The Aston Martin and the Alpine locking horns, but they managed to come out cleanly. So at the end of the first sector, Jack AC leads. As we've got Larsen in the wall at the back, but Jack AC leads. Avi in second, Brainstew in third. tyres. More moves look to be made because there goes Harlem Marquez on the inside of Verdex at this point. I think Verdex was actually attacking as they're coming towards the end of this first lap. Overall, looks to be pretty clean, Neon.
For sure, for sure. Magnetar has had a shocker of a start. He's dropped down 5 positions already on this lap 1. This is going to be very interesting to see if he can now keep up with this front group. And if he's not going to get swamped by the other medium drivers coming behind and on the way faster tire. As now Velu, who is spamming his ERS, going down around the outside of Besme. Can he control the move? Brakes late. Oh, and Besme is around. That is damage for Harlem Marquez as well. And Candy King is around. Oh, it's chaos.
Yeah, it's all kicked off there, and that was a domino effect of the contact between Valo and Bestmate. I believe that, I think it was Candy King that might have had just nowhere to go, and there's more contact. Mateo and Bestmate coming to blows. I think there might be some desync in this lobby because it doesn't seem right for the contact to be this severe between these drivers. I saw Red X next to Bestmate's name as well. We'll have to see it. They run wheel to wheel through here, and I think there is desync. I'm not too sure at this point. Yellow flags are out.
It seems like he's driving himself.
Ah.
It just gives a Red X, but I do think he is in control of that car.
Seems like it was all just everyone losing their heads a little bit here. And Bestmate now down in 13th position. We got yellow flags. I believe that's Larsen's car coming out of the pit lane. It's just gone straight on into the wall there. Somehow not out of this race. But at the top of the order, they all appear to be following in single file lines, not really too far apart. DRS now has been enabled, so drivers will have the DRS down the straights, down towards the first corner, and I believe what is turn number 10. Don't quote me on that though. It's in the second sector, just at the end of it.
Yeah, that's into turn 10 indeed.
Yeah. Not too much.
Larsen's car seems to have a problem. I don't know. Seems to be full throttle and there's no steering at all. I don't know if his steering wheel maybe has disconnected. Looks like it.
This is why we love F1 2021, everyone. We got flawless game design like this. I'm not too sure what the Alpine is doing. I don't actually think he's in the session. We'll just have to ignore it, I'd say, for the for the time being. And we'll see what's going on at the front, because Cozzy, starting on a set of the soft tyres, only made his way into 9th place. But is right behind a train, currently led by his teammate for this race, Magnetar. Valu's in that train and Verdex as well. Verdex having almost a half spin off the exit of what I think is turn number 12. Coming onto this DRS straight now. See if Valu can have an opportunity to go at Magnetar. Using up the ERS down the straight. The VSC's been deployed. That brings a halt to the action. I'd imagine that. And a full course safety car had to come out. So the full-on brakes to the action, and the Alpine car that's got to be the perpetrator here. And there we go. Larsen's car's been disqualified, but I actually don't think it was him in the session.
No, he has indeed asked me for an invite. So I do believe it wasn't him. That is very unfortunate.
That is really unlucky there.
Now it's interesting. What do we see? Do we see people hop into the pit and go trying hards to the end? Because I know it is possible. From lap 4, hards to the end. I think it's possible. I think Magnetar is one who's definitely going to stay out. It'll be an interesting situation to see. Do they maybe opt for a new set of mediums, new set of soft, maybe even, because from this point you can do soft medium. Maybe go mediums and then try and softs at the end, or stick it out on hards. Because the pit lane isn't very long here, so a 2-stop wouldn't be that bad at all.
Yeah, I think it might be wise for some of these drivers to think about coming into the pit. Someone who I think 100% should pit is Cozzy. Because on that set of the softs, they're not going to go much longer into this race. Already 4 laps in, I'd imagine they'd be dropping off in comparison to the medium tyres. I'd imagine the temperatures as well not looking too great for the McLaren, but we'll see if anyone does opt to come into the pits. I think Yari's decided to pull in. Cozzy as well. And I believe that might be it for the drivers in the front runner train. So Yari and Cozzy, the only drivers deciding to swap off the tyre that they started on. Theoretically, of course, they can go to the end from here. Yari, I'd imagine, can on a set of the hard. as is Cozzy. So those guys looking to go to the end at this point, I'd imagine. It will be difficult towards the end of this race when all your rivals around you are going to have much fresher tyres. But a huge undercut is being had here, and they're not losing that much in terms of time to their rivals, given the fact that they're under safety car conditions. So I'd say if they're boxing for the heart at this point, it might be the smart move.
Yeah, maybe. It's gonna be interesting though, because there is a lot of traffic in front of them. There's about 13 cars between where Jara was and where he is right now, so it's gonna be interesting to see how he's gonna navigate his way through the traffic. And then even if he wants to, maybe he just wants to chill on the train, save his tires a little bit, so he has a lot of life in the tires at the end. Because the rest of this medium train at the front will all be pitting to the fresh hards in about, I'd say, 15 laps from now on. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see the strategy.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all up in the air as to what can happen at the moment. If you're just joining us now, we are currently under safety car conditions due to, I believe, an internal game issue causing Larsen to be completely knocked out of the session. His car going a bit haywire, consequently causing this safety car by going into the barriers and losing his front wing. And the safety car is just about to begin. I believe it's second or third lap on the safety car. I think it is its third lap of being active. Mandatory 2 laps have to be undertaken before they can go back racing. Of course, the grid ideally needs to be stacked up. Joshua Pianol currently at the rear of the order. On the
I do believe he's had to make a pit stop. I believe he made a pit stop on lap 2 as of the cause of damage. He got a 5-second speeding penalty in the pit lane, so he's definitely pitted to remove that. So it's he's not up to pitting again, so he'll be catching up to the grid in this lap, and we'll be going in this lap for racing again. Gonna be interesting to see if Jacka can keep his position on the main straight, because it's very, very long, and with the slipstream, Avi can maybe do something.
Yeah, of course, DRS won't be enabled until 2 laps after the safety cars come back in. So they're going to have a rolling start back onto this one. And yeah, all the grid is essentially stacked up, and we'll be getting underway very shortly. I'm seeing in the chat as well, Matteo and Best Mate might be desync. That is what I was thinking. They were getting very close together, and there was some contact to be made between the pair of them. So that could be an issue that Codemasters once again has not fixed, but we are about to get back underway. We're just waiting for the message from race control. As I say that,
there it
safety
is.
car in this lap. So now it's Jack AC's discretion as to when and where they go. They're pretty close to the safety car. Normally you have to let it get away from you, but getting very tight to the back of beautiful red Mercedes. Yeah, he's really getting close. Which is a bit of a weird one. We'll just have to wait and see where he decides to go. Could go out the final corner, potentially, or go right towards the line, so as to not give the ideal run to Avi into the first corner. As I say that,
instantly gone.
Yeah, he drops it now. And here we go. We're back underway. Green flag racing here in Spain. Avi's got the opportunity to close up in towards turn number 1, but I think Valo's going to be the one to make a move, trying to go around the outside. It didn't work out for him last time, going in towards Best Mate and in towards the first corner, wheel to wheel with Magnetar through there. Very nice and tidy racing between the pair of them. I think Magnetar's not feeling it with the tyres at the moment, might be a little bit cold. And now Verdex off the exit of turn number 3 is going to go up the inside in towards the fourth corner. Very clean racing, no contact to be had, but you could fit a cigarette paper between the wheels of those cars. Brilliant stuff so far, and Eruption could have a bite of the cherry, because now gone at the inside of turn number 5, if I believe that is. Magnetar still struggling with the tyres, but I think Eruption going to have to back out for the time being. Credit to Magnetar for losing the positions and not hitting his rivals. I know a lot of the drivers in other leagues and stuff, and just in the community, would actually just fight the position way too hard, go into their rivals and then make contact. But very nice and clean stuff from Magnetar to lose out fair and square. And of course, got to be playing the long game at this point. Still only 6 laps on those tyres, but all things considered, Neon, it's been a very clean restart.
It has been indeed. Valo with a grey overtake into turn 1-2 around the outside of Magnetar. Very opportunistic move, but it did work out in the end for the Aston Martin. He's now up into P5. He's one of my podium predictions, so I need to see him get up there. I think he has the pace to go and try and fight the 3 Ferrari powered cars ahead, and maybe the Honda powered car as well. Who knows? At the moment, it seems that the Magnetar is struggling a lot with the tires. He's dropped off 8/10 of vertex already. Yeah, he needs to try and keep it in this train, but he's also lost a lot of his ERS already. He's down to 30/40%, which is not nice, because he'll be having eruption on him, who has already a lot more ERS within no time, and if he loses DRS as well, it's going to be even a harder situation for him.
Absolutely. As next time by, DRS will be enabled. Who's being made? Harlan Marquis loses out to Yarrow. As now coming up the hill through turn number 9. The Alpine car could go back at him in towards turn number 10. But I think in this slipstream train, it's not going to be enough. So have a look back at the leaders here, because I think Brainstew is getting pretty close to the rear of Avi. So we could see these guys continuing up in towards the first corner. Now through the final braking zone, through the chicane, and off the exit, flat out through the final corner. See if any battles can be had in towards the first turn. I don't believe so. No DRS until turn number 9. The detection point's just but poor there. Then we'll start to see some DRS action that could leave Jack AC vulnerable. But in this DRS train, stemming all the way down to about 10th position, it is really going to be difficult to gauge who actually has an advantage. But they're all closing up. I think Neon is going to get a bit exciting coming up next. As I think Donny's gone around there.
We had a spinner. Oh yeah, Donny has gone on that around indeed. That's unfortunate for the Haas driver. As now Brainstew is very, very close on the rear of Avi. Maybe we'll see a fight into turn 1 for the next lap. As Avi will also try and get past Jackhack, as the pit stop will come around in a few laps. I don't think they're that close yet. But you always, with the pit stops, want to be ahead of your rival. So you have the clean air after that to push your out lap. Because the out laps are very, very important.
Absolutely. We'll see if anyone does opt for an undercut here. But if not, we could be treated to a brilliant battle in towards the first corner. Led by Jack AC. The train comes through the final turn to begin lap number 10 in this Grand Prix. Weaving down the straight, trying to break the toe, but it might not be enough. Here comes Avi down the straight and towards the first corner. Job done at the inside, but what about Brainstew as well, going up the inside of their teammate there. Jack AC did not want to fight that one. Now Avi leads the Grand Prix, Brainstew in second, Jack AC down to third, but now he's going to have their own helping of DRS. So I think these guys are all going to be shuffling the positions around. I think best mate's gone around. The first corner might have been more contact with another rival. If so, it'd be rotten luck for him. Now down into 19th position. As I did mention before, Avi leading this race. Brainstew in second, third for Jack AC. Burkamp not getting involved in this fight too much. Didn't need to use up any overtake as well to stay with the train. Which might be key coming in later in this Grand Prix. And as you said, some of these guys might want to use up their overtake before they come into the pits. They recharge that, so we'll watch out for that. But lap 10 rolls along. We're just waiting for the pit stops now, Neon.
Yeah, Yara indeed. What I've picked up is that Yara has lost a lot of time to Matteo. He's lost about 3 seconds to the rear of Matteo. Might cost him a lot in the end, as he needs to be close to the Avi and Brainstew and Jackhack, as they will pit. But if they're too close to him, they'll just catch up and re-overtake him. So I don't think this is very, very nice for the Aston Martin driver down to P11 at the moment. Remco also seems to have dropped from Yara. So it's going to be an interesting race. At the top we see some nice fighting. We saw of course Avi and Brainstew go down the inside of Jackhack into turn 1 last lap. Great overtake by both of them. Shows that you can still overtake on this track, even though that it seems that is basically a dirty, so I can't talk, a dirty air track, and it's very, very hard to follow in Sector 3 especially. So it's going to be interesting to see if Brainstew can keep up with Avi and maybe overtake him before the pit stop, because of course Brainstew and Jackhack won't be able to pit the same lap, as they're both an Alfa Romeo driver. So we'll have to see which one of them pits first, and if they follow Avi, or if they go 1 lap earlier or later than Avi. Because I know the overcut does work on this track, as the mediums stay very, very fast for very, very long.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good point you mentioned there about teammates not being able to double stack. If we're considering the train being the top 10, the only drivers that actually have to worry about that are Jack KC and then Macau as well. For Alpha Tauri, Avi could opt to come into the pit lane. We're most of that lap watching Valu, who was very close to the back of Burkan. I think Brainstew's going to have a crack at the whip in towards the first corner. Running wheel to wheel with Avi in towards the braking zone. Job done. Moving over to the racing line just in front of their rival. And both these guys are pushing at this point. Could suggest that they are going to just try and get the most out of these tyres. We're 1/3 of the way through the Grand Prix. Lap 12 of 33. 11 laps completed. And Brainstew is flying at the moment. Now leading this Grand Prix. We'll have a look just quickly at the positions made up. You can see 5 have been gained by Brainstew, one of the biggest movers at the moment, but the biggest mover of them all is Matteo Longuet for Haas. 9 positions made up in this Grand Prix, same for Eruption, and then Verdex making up 6, so a lot of big movers in this race. Grid really has been shuffled around from the wet qualifying session that we had. Yari with another 3-second time penalty adding to their troubles. We'll just have to wait and see, because I expect some of these guys to try and undercut their rivals. Maybe for the likes of Avi or Burkan. I'd imagine Jack is going to wait for his teammate to pit first, because normally the driver in front gets priority. If they're talking in a Discord call, that might be the case. But here we go. If we see anyone opt to box, I don't believe so. So they're all going to stay out on the set of the medium compound tyre for the time being. Here comes Valu towards down the straight here. Running wheel to wheel with Burkan. I don't know if Burkan actually wants to give this one up too easily, but no, Valu moves over back onto the racing line. P4 for the Aston Martin. Really has been putting in a shift this race.
Yeah, Valu has put up a great show so far. He's really seemed to like the overtake into turn 1, as it's probably the main overtaking spot. You of course have the overtaking spot into turn 10, but it's very hard to follow through the long right-hander with dirty air, as it washes you out very, very wide, and it's hard to carry a lot of speed. So Valu has done a great job so far, overtaking a few cars coming down from P8, I believe, down up all the way up into P4 already. As the mediums at the moment still seem to be faster than Yara. Yara has dropped off to 10.4 seconds off the lead right now. And the pit stop here, I think, loses you around 19 seconds. So they'll have to catch up about 8.5 seconds back right now. So it's going to be interesting to see, and also when they pit.
Absolutely. At this point, the medium tyres could be feeling somewhere. Being 12 laps old, granted a few of those laps were in safety car conditions. Oh dear, Jack AC gets a 3-second time penalty. That's the first of the drivers inside the top 10. Verdex off the exit at the final corner on the back of Burkan. Now running wheel to wheel, almost the exact same overtake that Valu made. And speaking of Valu, going up the inside onto the podium. Now P3 for them, ahead of Jack AC. Got a bit of a gap between themselves and Avi. But a brilliant move from the Aston Martin car, who continues their charge up the order. Now into P3, could seek out Avi. But it is again 1.5 seconds between the pair of them. As just have to wait and see what happens from this point onwards. I think Eruption is looking onto the back of Magnetar, who's done really well to actually stay in this train and not lose any positions, given the fact that they started on the hard tyres. They had a lot less grip and a lot less speed in them, but it has worked out, and this could be the benefits start to appear, reap what they sow early on in the Grand Prix, later on when they'll be on the fresher tyres than everyone else on the softer compound. So you can't count out the McLaren car. Still very much a factor in this Grand Prix. Lap 14 comes to an end. No drivers again coming into the pit lane, as Verdex makes a very late lunge, but does come into the box, as does Burkan. So we're starting to see some of our drivers pit here, Neon.
Yeah, we do. We've had another spin of actually Tony. Unfortunate. Yeah, indeed, we're gonna see the first drivers pit of these mediums onto the hards, as Valu has just overtaken Jackhack, re-overtaken him after Jackhack overtook him on the straight. There's a little bit of contact, I believe. It's not optimal. Valu seems to have lost a little bit of time to the top two. So I think Valu will be opting to pit this lap to maybe undercut the top two to get back into their DRS, as that's crucial at the moment. Yara has also picked up another 3-second time penalty, so that is not going to help him out. He's already on 9 seconds. So I think the win for him is already down the bin. So at the moment, I think we'll have to look at Remco Van Putten to see how he is able to keep up with these leaders after they pit. They will be, of course, be behind them, but we'll have to see what the pace difference will be. Because I think it will be pretty big, because the hards drop off a decent amount from lap 1 compared to like lap 15, 16 mediums hards. Sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got some pretty good knowledge of the strategy around this circuit and how the tyres work. I think it's great actually having a league racer in the commentary box, and obviously Yari really is not having a good time at this circuit.
Seems that everyone has opted to stay out as well. Interesting. They're all going another lap, so Verdex and Berkan maybe with a brilliant undercut here. If they can work together here, they're both in. Berkan is in DRS of Verdex, so he might be able to overtake him, then pull Verdex along again and then re-overtake, which will gain them about half a second of time already. And these hards will be faster than these old mediums at the moment. So I believe they might have done a good strategy here in undercut, but we'll have to see what the pace difference will be after that, because of course the other ones will have fresher hards, especially towards the end. Always you'll see the tire difference. Even one lap can matter a lot in pace. So we'll have to see how that works out. It seems that Brainstew has also managed to pull away from Avi about 1.5 seconds now. So I think Brainstew is pretty comfortable right now into P1. I think he can push these tires a little bit more. Seems to have a little bit of ERS left. So if he can keep this and keep this pace up, he might be able to stay out for 1 or 2 more laps and then pit onto the hards and go full push mode towards the end.
Yeah, of course, running along on this set of the mediums. And we'll see. No, staying out once again. What about Abby? Possibly could look for an undercut on their rivals here, and I don't believe so. I'd like to give a quick shout out to XTXP25 for the Tier 1 stroll itself. On a 4-month streak at the moment. Your contributions are greatly appreciated. We go back to the race because here comes Eruption in towards turn number 1 on Magnetar. And yeah, pretty much a standard move that we've been seeing all race from these drivers, especially at the sharp end of the order, going around the outside or up the inside of the first corner, just finding their way around. Now Magnetar, with the lack of ERS, only 10%, they're really going to struggle to defend from Mikau and Mateo. So they're very close to the rear, and about 5 tenths separating all of these drivers combined. As I'm seeing Kozzy blipping around on the timing tower. Hopefully that's just a short minor glitch and not any desync issues. Knowing that I've just said that, I've probably jinxed it. Lap 17 of 33. We're past the halfway point. I'm just waiting to see if any of these drivers opt to come into the pit lane. Surely 17 laps on the set of the mediums, you're in a pretty safe window to come on for the hards now, surely.
It might opt to stay out for the softs even, actually. With the safety car, I think they will be able to extend these mediums and hop onto a fresh set of softs. Because I do believe that those extra 3 laps that they got on the safety car will have given the mediums the tire life to go that little bit longer to then push onto the softs.
That's a fair enough point here. There goes Matteo Longue. Might have to fight this one. Up the inside, goes deep onto the brakes. Mikau not really fighting that one. I'd say with the Haskar going so deep on the brakes, he probably could have fought that one back. Mikau losing out. Now down into 8th position. Of course, yet to pit. The likes of Verdex and Berkan are in the top of the order. They were in the fight for the lead earlier on in the lead train. Of course, made an undercut to go on the hards. But it's going to be very interesting how they go on from here, as the gaps have formed. Pretty much everyone in the top 4 all running their own race at the moment. Aside from Jack AC, he's got Eruption just about 8 tenths behind, struggling on soft for a little bit, on the pace a little bit here. We'll run a ball with Brain Stew, because I think at this point, you said 1 or 2 more laps. He's going to go for a third. What about Valu or AV or Abby even? No, so they're all staying out.
Magnetar's in.
Oh, Magnetar, interesting on a set of hard tires. Got a box now for the mediums.
Be fitting the mediums, yeah, surely mediums. It's way too early for the softs, I'd say. Yeah, it's mediums indeed. Good choice. I think this might be able to get him to undercut a few people ahead of him, as he did lose a little bit of time on those hards. So he'll be able to now full push towards the end, as he has a comfortable 14 laps only to do on these mediums. So interesting to see how he can manage to hold off the softs that will be coming later with Brains to Avi, Valu and Jacka. And of course the option Matteo and Mikhail.
Yeah, absolutely. And if these drivers at the top, and they're heavier on fuel, and they're able to do 18 laps, where the wear is higher at the beginning of the race, Magnussen can easily do 14 laps on a set of the mediums. It's come out right behind Burkan and Verdex, who are just ahead of him as well. So the undercut really hasn't been too beneficial for them. So at this point in the race, Magnetar could be in the best position of anyone. We were tipping this earlier, that Magnetar, now on the fresh set of the mediums, going to reap the benefits of starting on the hard tyres. They managed to keep it. I'm not really sure where I'm going with this one here. I just kind of lost my train of thought. Managed to keep it the train. There we go. Ran it back, and we managed to get it. Managed to keep the train, and now is able to undercut them on a fresh set of the mediums. But you'd have to say, coming out behind their rivals like this might not be the best position, given the fact that they are in the dirty air. And now in the slipstream down the straight on Burkan having to defend to the inside. And I think this might not be a benefit to Magnetar. Certainly one thing is not a benefit. Remco going for a spin.
The Dutchman as a lead had a spin. I think maybe he was with a little bit of contact with Harlem Marquez. I think they were side by side into turn 1, I believe. So we'll have to see after the race how that went. But unfortunately for the Dutchman, and that won't be good for his race, as he was the net P1 leader at the moment, because he obviously pitted for the hards under the first safety car, and Yara has about 9 seconds of penalties. So at the moment it looks like Candy King is the net leader if you take the penalties. So it's going to be interesting to see if Magnetar can catch up all that time back to Candy King, and where Brainsteel comes out after he pits.
Yeah, Candy King had a quiet race at the moment, pitting for the hard tyres very early on, 16 laps only. Can definitely go to the end from this point. Will be struggling in comparison to their rivals. Jackie C and Eruption fighting in towards turn number 1. I think Jackie C's done really well to defend that position, but now up the hill, Eruption could be looking for the opportunity. I think caught in the dirty air, trying to follow right behind on a high-speed corner really does affect the downforce, and he understeered almost off the circuit. Had to lift off just to maintain the position, but unfortunately not able to get past their rival. Going to have another bite at the cherry, crack of the whip down in towards turn number 9, or once again lap 22 at turn 1, and that could be key as well, because Valu's just got a 3-second time penalty. They were looking. That is
not good. That is not good. It's a 6-second time penalty for him now. So if you look at the people around him who don't have pens, that is already gonna count him out of the race for the podium. So my podium prediction is over, unfortunately. Nothing is over until the last lap, to be honest. But because Brainsteel goes into the pits, and Avi, they both go into the pits. Bello has opted to stay out.
Right, let's see what happens here. I think I see softs, and indeed it is. For Brainsteel, mediums off, softs on. Same for Avi, same for Eruption, and same, I'd imagine, for Harlem Marquise. Where do they come out in comparison to their rivals? We've got to be watching. Candy King's gone past, as has Cozzy. Just about Candy King. Comes out right behind his rival here, Brainsteel. Really good to be right up to the rear of the Red Bull car. Going to be able to use the superior grip to just fly right by, then extend the gap. Eruption and Avi have also just come out in the fray too. Eruption a little bit of a ways back, just in front of Verdex. There we go, Brainsteel around the outside at turn number 5. Takes the lead of this Grand Prix. I didn't quite catch that one there. And I was ahead of Candy King. That could have been the move for the winner this Grand Prix. Is now Candy King behind net P2 at this point. So we've seen a driver have an off there. I think that's Dimitru, around and out.
Yeah, definitely. Out of turn 2, he's had a spinner.
I think
it's unfortunate for the Red Bull driver. I think for now He's going to hope for a safety car to get back into this race. Same as for Besme. Well, Besme I don't think is in the session anymore. As we see the rest of the people pit. Valu and Yara both opt to stay out. So both Aston Martins still out. Yara obviously already pitted to the hards on the safety car in lap 2. So Valu is at the moment the only car who hasn't pitted on this grid.
Yeah, it's interesting that Valu hasn't opted to make a pit stop at this point in the Grand Prix. Given it's 22 laps, he's going to be able to make it to the end on the set of the soft, so why not prevent the undercut, come in and fight with your rivals. But I guess he's trying to try something different, given that he's got a 3-second time penalty. Maybe he can appeal that later on in the Grand Prix. As I say that, man, he gets another 3-second time penalty. That could be the final nail in the coffin for this race for Valu. Very unfortunate. With his rivals like Brainstew, Cozzy, Candy King, AV, and even Eruption as well, not getting time penalties. So he's going to be dropping all the way behind them. As Avi going to be trying for it in towards turn number 10, I think. Got the inside very late on the break. Danny Ricciardo as the last of the late breakers. Late breakers. Got my letters mixed up there. Do apologise. Avi goes up into P5 ahead of Candy King, who was the net race leader at some point. Valu also in the pit lane at this point in the Grand Prix. Now Avi going to try and look to go past Cozzy at this point. Being caught in this traffic really has not helped him, because now he's 3 seconds back from Brainstew. In towards turn number 1, Cozzy looking to defend this one. Around the outside, Avi's going to have to go easy as you like. Valu's just come out behind this short train as well. Going to have to negotiate the traffic. This is just going to allow for Brainstew to waltz right up the road.
Yeah, indeed. Valu has indeed opted to stay out a few more laps. It doesn't seem that he's lost too much to Avi, because he was around 1 second away from Avi, and I think he's now about 1.5 seconds away. Because Avi and Brainstew obviously got stuck in the traffic with Cozzy and Candy King. So they lost like a few seconds. But Valu of course has these penalties, which will not be helping him, as he will have to catch Yara on track at the moment to be able to pass him. And I don't think there's enough laps left for him to pull 9 seconds from Candy King and Cozzy, as he goes for a big send on Candy King down into turn 10, manages to keep it on the track, goes past into the turn 10. Now he's up Cozzy's rear with about 60% of ERS. I think he'll be able to get him down into turn 1, as these softs have a lot more grip at the moment, it seems.
Absolutely, the soft tyres really working in these conditions. Lap 25, not too much longer left in this Grand Prix. Valu can have an easy overtake on Cozzy, but Cozzy once again defending to the inside like he did with Avi. Towards the first corner, fence is futile. Candy King could try and look for the opportunity later on, but I don't believe so. As Valu now 1.5 seconds back from Avi. Of course, with 6 seconds of time penalties, it's going to be really difficult to actually maintain any of these positions in the race. Of course, they can put away from the likes of Cozzy and Candy King, who are going to be struggling with their old hard tyres. It is going to be very useful. As Jackie is trying to go around the outside of turn number 4 of Remco van Putten. Contact between the pair of them. Bit of wheel banging. That's going to allow for Mikau to try and slip up the inside here of the Williams car. It's on the old hard compound tyres. Mikau only on 1 lap used softs. So the difference in grip is going to be monumental. Through turn number 9. See the AlphaTauri car with just a better traction through here, but off the exit. A little bit dirty air, I'd imagine. Trying to inhibit the action. Oh my goodness me, up the inside is Remco trying to fight this one back with the soft compound tyre of Jackie. Actually gets a 3-second time penalty in the process for the Alfa Romeo car. Really unfortunate that scenes there. Now through the final sector, Remco trying to get aggressive did not work out, and has given Jackie a penalty. Valu sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. It's on the back of Avi, and has somehow gone around the outside and towards turn number 1. I just about caught the end of that one there, but gained about 1.5 seconds on that lap. The Aston Martin is flying, Neon.
Yeah, absolutely. I think him staying out a few more laps has very much given him the advantage of grip at the moment. He's flew past Cozzy and Candy King, and is now already past Avi. He does have 12 seconds of penalty, so this is going to work in a very big disadvantage. But I do believe he can still snatch some points away here.
Absolutely. As he's already pulled a sizable gap, about 7 seconds on Avi. Dimitri unfortunately leaves the session. Retired earlier on in this race. Valu currently the quickest man out on circuit. Now we've got 3 seconds until they can pass Brainsuit on circuit. Yari is currently leading in this Grand Prix, but of course with about 12 seconds of time penalties won't be keeping this lead. It's really unfortunate given how far ahead they were of anyone else. Donny in the pit lane retires from this Grand Prix. So that's 3 DNFs in this race. I don't think we can count Lars in because that was a bit unfair with the DSQ. Now Avi doesn't even have DRS.
Oh, Valu has pulled away from Avi. Valu had a lot more ERS in the tank when he came out of the pit lane. He had about 60% starting his lap, 1.5 seconds behind from Avi, so I think he has used a lot of that to now get to him and already gap him by 1.6 seconds. Valu is absolutely flying right now.
Oh yeah, he's so quick, almost 2 seconds ahead at this point. Something we also failed to mention is actually Remco's gone around. I believe that happened on the last lap. Now down in 15th. I think he just tried to make a send that did not work out. And now down in 15th behind PNR. I think his race completely over at this point. We'll see if we can watch Eruption, who's now caught up to the back of Candy King and Cozzy for 5th and 6th position. Eruption currently down in 7th. Later on the brakes than the Red Bull. Now for the exit, Harlem Marquis gets a 3-second time penalty, all the way down in 16th position. Won't be making too much of a difference on their race. Here we are, the Mercedes against the Red Bull. The story of real F1 translating back over to MRL. Through the final corner, we'll see the drive that Eruption gets. Looks like it's not a not brilliant exit. And now down the straight, here they go. Candy King's got a lot of ERS in the battery to utilise, and he's going to try and go for the move on Cozzy up the inside and towards the first corner. Who's going to be the one to break later? I believe it is going to be Cozzy trying to hold it around the outside. Candy King still going to fight it up the inside. Now they're going to run wheel to wheel up the hill section in through turn number 3. Eruption, where can they fit in this battle? Is now coming in towards turn number 4. Around the outside goes Cozzy, defending the position brilliantly at this point in towards sector 2 now, as Candy King has found a way back up the inside. Now switches it on the outside line. They're still running wheel to wheel, and Eruption still trying to find an avenue through in this battle. Now this is going to carry all the way down in towards turn number 7 and up towards turn 8 as they rise through this short quick chicane. Brilliant stuff we have just witnessed here. Cozzy defending that position almost perfectly, as now Eruption getting onto the curbs off the exit of turn number 9. What can they do in towards turn 10? Can Candy King go up the inside line? I don't believe it, but brilliant scenes we just witnessed there, Neon. Brilliant battling and not a single bit of contact between any of them.
Yeah, indeed, very clean driving from both of them. They managed to keep away from each other as Eruption outbrakes himself. Fully missed the corner. He's now side by side with Matteo Longe. Nearly spins. Ooh. Matteo is now going to have the DRS and Eruption won't. So this will be a very, very easy move for Matteo. But indeed, as you mentioned, Candy King and Cozzy having an insane battle. Both keeping it very clean. No contact made as Cozzy defends his position. And that was some great, great defending, I must say.
Absolutely. I think Candy King have been building up to that overtake for a while. Probably didn't expect Cozzy to defend as hard as they did. But it was brilliant stuff. And we're getting word from Noel Coleman in the chat, someone I'm familiar with in another league, that Eruption's controller might disconnected there. Unfortunate. Luckily he's been able to keep it on the road. So that's the main thing. Not gone completely off. But it is unfortunate, I'd say.
I do believe Cozzy and Candy King are fighting very, very hard, because if Cozzy can manage to get 4 tenths back to Jarve, this will be for a podium position. So I think that's why Cozzy has opted to defend very, very hard. And very, very clean as well. It's been an insane battle, so I hope we can see more of that in the coming 4 laps that we still have.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we'll have a quick look at the penalties in this race, and both Aston Martin cars have a combined of 27 seconds. As Yari actually just laps Mercedes car best mate. Yari's got 12 seconds of penalties. Valu is 15, so it's safe to say that neither of these guys are keeping their podiums. The current net leader at the moment is Brainsuit. P2 it's going to be Avi, and then Cozzy, as you said, fighting for a final spot on the podium with Candy King. They're going to be going, I'd say, to the last lap. Matteo Longe is trying to get involved as well. Does have a penalty of 6 seconds, so it's unlikely that towards the end they're going to be able to pull out the gap. So I think it might be wise for possibly eruption to try and get past the Haas, or maybe just follow them through. And of course, the soft tyres are still going to be in working condition. And I'm seeing some slight cloud coverage as well, so I'd imagine track temps are beginning to drop ever so slightly. It can help nurse some of these tyres to the end and keep them in better condition. Just have to wait and see how this all works out. Lap 31 is going to begin soon, so we're going to go for 3 laps to go in this one. Yari leads from Brainstew, and it's all to play for the final spot on the podium.
Yeah, definitely these little bit grayer clouds will definitely help these softs nurse them a little bit more to the end. As the softs overheat a lot, especially in the start of the race. At the later stages of the race, it's a little bit less. But still, a little bit of fuel in the car doesn't matter a lot. And it will make these tires overheat quite a bit. But I think all the soft runners are fine. I don't think the top 3 soft runners are at the moment not close to one another. So I don't think they'll be in need to fight anyone. Valu, of course, will have to push all the way to the end to see if he can snatch any points, because I don't think at the moment he's in P12 if you count the penalties away. So it's gonna be hard. He's gonna have to pull away about 3, 4, 5 seconds to be able to snatch some points. Yara obviously also still at the moment in a net P5. As Kozi gets a penalty, that's unfortunate. That has cost him maybe the podium, but at least it's P4 for now. So Candy King will be collecting that P4. Avi at the moment will be collecting P2 and Brainstew P1. And Yara P3. Great race by Yara. It shows that the strategy would have worked, considering he lost a little bit of time at the starting stages of this race. In the traffic, he lost a few seconds to the train ahead, and he's managed to still be in P1 on track with this hard, so it's a great strategy. Shows that it does work out. Just keep it clean. It's the only tip I can give.
Yeah, Verdex retiring from this race. I think he could have gone 2 more laps. We're on lap 32. Might as well just finish it out on circuit, but that's another one added to the DNF list. They did have a spin in the final sector.
I believe he's crashed into the pit lane.
Oh, well,
that's very unfortunate always.
Yeah, I mean, it's good that we're this late into the Grand Prix, because safety car physically can't come out at this point, since it's so late. The game doesn't let you finish on the safety car. It will automatically come in with like 2 or 3 laps to go. But we are coming up towards the final lap in this Grand Prix. Yari, we're watching on circuit. And I'd like to go back to the point that you brought up with him having the superior pace and showing that the strategy's worked. Because now 27 laps have been put on this set of the hard compound tyres. And Brainstew's not been able to catch enough to actually overtake. You just saw the Alfa Romeo car peering into the picture. 10 laps on the set of the softs. It's safe to say that they're not going to be in great condition anymore, given how quickly they wear out here. We'll watch Yari through the final lap of this Grand Prix, lap 33 of 33.
Kozi and Candy King side by side through turn 1 and 2. Candy King is a little bit out of shape. Great overtake by Kozi. Matteo Longe is looking on the rear of Candy King to see if he can make a move. Running low on ERS. And so I don't think it will be possible. Candy King with a little bit of ERS still left in the bank. Kozi is dry on battery. So it's going to be interesting to see if we can see move into turn 10 by the Red Bull driver. I don't think it's possible, but we can always maybe see it. Great battling until the last lap. We've had an entertaining race so far.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a brilliant Grand Prix, and Spanish Grand Prix don't always tend to be some of the greatest, but they've really pulled it out of the bag this time. We've got to watch the leader come through the final few corners. I am watching the intervals at the same time, just see if there is any moves. But Yari at the final corner with 28 laps on this set of the hard compound tyres. Unfortunate with the penalties, going to cross the line to take the win on track, but it is going to be Brainstew to cross the line and take P1 at the end of it all. Valu crossed the line. They might not be keeping out at any points. Avi takes P2. Kozi's going to cross the line, but with the penalty, cost themselves the podium. And I think Yari has kept the podium.
What a job. What a great job.
Oh my.
Brilliant. That is very good. How he's managed to do that, I don't know. With a lot of these thresholds behind him. But yeah, great Grand Prix, great Grand Prix. I don't think we've had any laps without any fighting, so good entertainment.
Yeah. I've got to agree with you there. It was really, really entertaining race. Normally, Spanish Grand Prix are a little bit of a sleeper. I won't lie. But this was it was a very interesting race. Let's have a full rundown of our race results pending post-race stewards' decisions. Of course, any of this stuff could be reversed. But here we are. Brainstew takes the win, given that Yari had 12 seconds of time penalties. Avi finishes 9 seconds back from the Alfa Romeo car. And Yari does take P3 in the end. And Candy King in 4th. 5th for Macau. Go right to the bottom here. Kozi in 6th. 7th for Valu. 8th for Magnetar. Then 9th for Eruption. 10th for Jack AC. Matteo Longe in P11. Joshua Pianart P12. Remco after that spin finishes in 13th. 14th for Harlem Marquise. Best Mate in 15th. And then 3 DNFs in this race. Actually, Verdex has been classified, given they did more than 90% of the Grand Prix. So they're in 16th. Then 3 DNFs in this Grand Prix. We had Burkan Kilic, Donny Dimitru, and then we had a DSQ in the name of Larsen. But that brings us, Neon, to the end of this race. And what a Grand Prix it's been. I've really enjoyed this one. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. But I'd like to ask you the question of who is your driver of the day?
I gotta give it. I want to give it to Valu after a great performance. He's done absolutely well to come down from P8 all the way up to P3 on track. Managed to snatch some okay points in the end, I believe. But yeah, great race by him. Good overtaking. Gave us a lot of entertainment, but obviously Brainstew had the pace this whole race. He pulled away from, I think it was Avi at the end of the medium stint, and then he was just dominant the whole race through. So I think we got to give it to Brainstew.
Absolutely. I would say Brainstew is a brilliant candidate for this one, but I'd also like to give a shout out. We've praised him quite a lot, but he did get the penalties in the end. Yare was really quick today. He was really the only driver to make that strategy work. Kozi and Candy King, they were there, but they did end up losing to the soft tyres. All the soft runners behind. So I really do think that we've got to give it. We got to give a shout out to Yare, but we do have someone in the interview room. It is Brainstew. So I think we'll bring him in for the first interview. And here we are, Brainstew. Can you hear us?
Yes.
All right, brilliant. So, race winner, of course, extending your championship lead. Let me just give. Can you just give us a quick rundown of how you're feeling after that one?
Yeah, very good. I think it's quite clear now that I don't I really don't like rain because quality was just a disaster. I was thinking about going out on the inters at the end because it was getting faster, but I was watching the delta and it wasn't going down fast enough, so I wasn't sure what tire to use. But in the race, the start was perfect. Gained 3 places in the first straight, and from there I managed to overtake the first 2 guys and then pull up the DRS of Avi, and from there I just managed the race.
Yeah, well, you did drive superbly, but I'd also like to ask about one of your closest championship rivals, Luke Smith, who didn't race here today. In the last 3 races where you both participated, you've both got podiums, but he has beat you in the last 3 Grand Prix. And if he turned up tonight, would you say that he'd have been a challenger and maybe you wouldn't have taken this win?
Yeah, surely. I mean, he's one of the fastest guys here, and he surely would have been a challenge to to beat. But knowing he wasn't going to race tonight, I had to maximize the result, and I did that.
Yeah, I mean, you put it yourself there. You had to maximise the result, and so you did with the win. You know, I believe, if my maths is correct, you're on 176 points, and you're a long way ahead of your nearest rival. But that's all from me asking the questions. If Neon has got anything to ask, then please, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I saw you had a great start off the line. You made up around 4 positions on the first
Yeah.
lap alone. How was that for you? How was the start, and how did you feel after lap 1? Did you feel confident you were going to be able to like overtake the rest of the field?
Well, it was crucial because starting sixth, I was scared that I was going to be stuck in Nadia's train, and gaining 3 places right of the start was very important. From there, I was quite confident of the pace, and in the end, it turned out to be a good race.
GG anyway, and good job on your win.
Thank you.
Right, so that concludes our interview with Brains 2. I'm not too sure. I'm just looking at the interview room. I'm not too sure if anyone is going to be available to come to the commentary box, but we'll give them a little bit more time. Of course, you can all see the calendars on your screen. Next week we head to Austria, which is I think it is the quickest lap, if I'm not mistaken, on the F1 2021 game and in real life as well. We're going to see an action-packed race there, surely.
Yeah, Austria always gives a lot of excitement. The 3 DRS straights in sector 1 and 2 and the start of 3, no, the end of 3, give a lot of excitement as you can really follow. If you manage to follow through the middle sector and the last sector, you will be able to have a great run at your opponents. I think it will be an interesting race to see. We obviously see a lot of DRS trains, as we like to call them these days, on Austria at the track like that. But it's going to always cause for a very exciting race, and I hope to see more of what we saw today.
Yeah, and knowing this grid, I think we can have just exactly that coming into next week. But I'm not seeing anyone else in the interview waiting room, so I think that is all from us today. Thank you very much for tuning in to the Misfits Racing League Twitch channel. Make sure you check out all of our socials. I believe it is Misfits_RL on Twitter. And there's also, if you just scroll down on your Twitch, you can see a link to our Discord. Make sure you join that and get yourself signed up. Of course, mid-season sign-ups are, I believe, open. At least that's what Streamlabs is saying. But from me and from Neon as well, it's been a pleasure to have him in the commentary box with him. If you'd like to have any final words, then please, the floor's yours.
Yeah, great stream. Enjoyed it quite a lot. As the first time commentating MRL Tier 1. Obviously, last week in France I had my debut in Tier 2. So I'd like to say thanks for giving me the opportunity to do this. And I had a lot of fun. Also, commentating with you was a pleasure. And thank you everyone for tuning in.
Yeah, I mean, I project that just as much as Neon has. So, of course, this was my first time controlling the stream. When I was there for Hungary, I was alongside Psycho. He managed all of the stream stuff. But I did my best here tonight, and hopefully it was a success. Hopefully everyone has enjoyed it. But from us at MRL, it is thank you and good night. Stay safe, everybody.